Hi guys, so today we're gonna take a look at something that me and almost the entire filmmaking community is bananas about right now, and that is vintage glass. And today I'm gonna bring you the battle of the Fast 50-ish equivalent. You'll see in a moment. So, from one system we have the Canon FD 55 1.2, the non-aspherical SSC version. Now there is an aspherical version of this that costs 10 times as much, and as Media Division showed in their very wonderful videos about the Canon FDs and the Canon K35s, the practical differences between this costing roughly €300 and the aspherical version, which I just saw on the Scandinavian eBay for €3,400, is negligible when used in a sort of filmmaking and narrative context. So, a very fast 55 1.2 for roughly €300 is what I paid for this one. And then we have the Dark Knight, the Mamiya 80mm 1.9. But then now you might be saying to yourself, well, surely Daniel, you said the battle of the 50-ish equivalent, and you just said that this was an 80mm. Well, this on a medium format system is actually equivalent to a 50, and the 80mm 1.9 is one of the fastest lenses ever made for a medium format system. At least it was when it came out in the 70s. So what we get with this when used with a speed booster is about equivalent to 55-60-ish. You will see the field of view very shortly when we do the actual test. But I also thought that just as a reference, I would throw my Zeiss Milvus 50mm 1.4 in there, so we have a modern equivalent to these two lenses and a point of reference, since I've shot a lot with the Milvus 50mm 1.4, so that I could give you my 2 cents on how the vintage lenses differ from the more modern manual lens. So without further ado, Okay, so my goal with this test was to sort of narrow the field down and just end up with one set of manual lenses. Since my Milvus line I've owned for a couple of years, but I just found with having the A7S III that I'm shooting on right now and just how practical the autofocus is on my sort of day-to-day work, I did not feel that I really could afford to have a set of modern manual focus lenses as well as 2 sets of vintage lenses. So I had to narrow the field down. I promised myself that I could just pick one set of manual lenses. So what did I end up choosing? Well, since you haven't seen me holding the Milvus, that went first. And then it sort of just came down to practicality, because I really love the image that you get of both of these sets of lenses. But I mean, honestly, look, this is how big the 80mm is with the speed booster to be usable on a 35 full frame lens. And this is how big the FD is. This is not sharp wide open. This is very sharp in sort of sense wide open. And I have a full set. I have a 45mm, I have the 80 1.9, and I have a 120 macro. With this, I have the 55 in my hand. I have an 85 1.2 FD and a spherical on its way, which by the way is a lens design that carried through all the way into the 90s, which is where I started to shoot in a more serious way. So that has always been a dream lens for me, and I'm finally getting one. So you might have guessed by now that the Mamiyas are also going out on the used market. It hurts in my heart, but I promised myself that I can only keep one set of manual lenses, and that has got to be the Canon FDs. But it's not mainly for the image performance, it is out of practicality. Because this I can really see myself having in the camera bag or just on my Panasonic S5 all the time for just getting like nice dreamy like images out of my family. And when I do like more narrative work, I'm gonna do this with the Canon FDs. But I've got a lot of mileage and a lot of nice images out of the Mamiya. I love it, but it's just not as practical as the FD. So that is it. Made my choice and I'm sticking with it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, you know what to do. Hit that like button, consider subscribing to my channel for more video gear reviews, camera tips and tricks, as well as some photography philosophy. But that is it, you guys. I will see you in the next one. Bye.